Okay. Hello everyone. So today we're going to do last group discussion video 4, whereby we need to compare all the 4 poems that we already presented, and then we are going to choose one of the poems for our first poetry in motion video. Before we start, let us introduce ourselves. I will start first. My name is Natasha Almira, and my matrix number is 198455. Next person.
And my name is Lekha, metric number 196484.
My name is Pang Wenzi. My matrix number is 208512.
My name is Muhammad Hasibi Muhairi. My matric number is 199061.
My name is Kyle Billy. My matrix number is 198294.
Hi guys, I'm Kirtana and my metric number is 199089.
Hi guys, my name is Calvin and my metric number is 208404.
Hi guys, my name is Rubitra and my metric number is 199194.
Hi, my name is Ding Yin Heng and my matrix number is 207419.
My name is Alina and my matrix number is 207888.
My name is Meyapan Raja, matrix number 196843.
So everyone already introduced themselves. Before we proceed with the discussion, I'm just going to briefly recap the poems that we already presented the last 2 weeks, which are Only in Sleep from group 1, I Remember for mini group 2, The Lilacs Mother Planted for mini group 3, and last but not least, The Golden Days for mini group 4. So I hope that all of us had gone through all these poems and had the idea which poems is the most suitable for our motion video. So I will pass to anyone who's going to start first with the discussion.
Okay, I'll start first then. Among the 4 poems, I actually really liked the poem from group 2, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was group 2 and also group 3 about planting something. I think it was planting something, some tree. Yeah. I don't remember the title that well, but I like the context within the poem from group 3 and group 2. The reason being was both were able to encompass the memories of both their childhood and as they were growing up and the ups and downs they had in life while going to school or waking up and so on. So between 2 and 3, I would go for 3 as my most favorite poem among that 2 lah. Yeah. Anyone else want to give something?
I agree with you, Raja. I also liked poem 2 and 3 the most, not only because it really suits our theme of memory, also because there are a lot of details in the poem that we can include when doing our videos. So I think it's easier and it will make our video also interesting. Anyone else?
Okay, I actually agree with the both of you. I think group 3's poem with the lilacs has made like the deepest impression on me, and it's kind of memorable how the author described the childhood plays and the love from his mother. So it made quite an impression on me. So I really like the poem from group 3. What about you guys?
Actually, I have different opinion with you guys because for me, I personally think about one poem that makes other people easy to understand. And first of all, I choose the poem number 4, which is The Golden Days. And even though this poem is quite straightforward, but the words or the sentences that they use or the poet used in the poem is very easy, very simple, and understandable. And last but not least, is very relatable. So compared to poem number 2 and number 3 that you guys mentioned before, both of the poems are very descriptive because they put a lot of elements inside the poems. It's actually a good thing, but to apply it uh, in order to make our motion video, maybe it takes a lot of work, I guess. So that's my opinion. Other people?
In my opinion, I think all of those elements, the more elements that we got in the poem, the more interesting our video can be. So in that case, I would go for either Group 2's poem or Group 3 about the lilacs. But then I find the Lilac's Mother Planted, that poem, more interesting because it's easy to understand, first of all, and then there's a lot of elements that we can use. Um, and yeah, that's all. What about you guys?
So for me, I think I like Group 2's poem better. I remember. So I think this is because the poem is basically very descriptive and it talks about the childhood. Like it's very detailed and it's very touching, I would say, compared to the other poems. Poems like just now, Group 4's poem was Group 4, is it? The simple one. Okay, yeah, I think so. The one L suggested, I don't know which group it's from. Yeah, so that's simple, but the poem I remember is a bit more artistic. I don't know how to put it. Yeah, so yeah, I like this poem better, and I think it'll be easier to create the video with this poem. Yeah.
Okay, for me, basically, I like the simple poem like group 1 and group 4. But when because if the simple poem, but it can make us interpret in many things. So we can create actually we can create many characters from the simple poem. Although we can see the group 2 and group 3 poem have a long stanza and have many character and element include in that poem. But I think if we choose the simple poem, we can create our own element and our own character. Let's say we choose remember. We can make our own moment and our own character for that poem. So I think it can make our job more easier because we can show our creativity to interpret that poem. So that is my opinion. So for my opinion, I will choose I remember or Golden Age. Yes. So although I don't say that I don't like the group 2 and group 3 poem, but I think we can show more creativity for the simple poem. So that's my opinion. So I choose remember.
Okay, I ikut. Sorry.
Okay, I go first. So I have different opinion from Hasif. I actually prefer poem number 3, which is the Lilacs Mother Planted, because it's quite simple and straightforward. However, for like in comparison for like all 4 poems, all I can say is in terms of the length, because group number 1 and poem number 4 is shorter compared to I remember and the Lilacs Mother Planted. However, I think despite how it's lengthy, I think it will be easier to find resource to make a video about it because the message is quite simple and straightforward. What do you guys think?
As for me, I equally like both the poems of Group 2 and Group 3. Group 2 is like the way they tell about the childhood memories and all. And as Ruby told earlier, Group 3's poem is very simple and straightforward. And both is like equally good for us to reenact. There's more stuffs to be easier lah for us, most stuffs. Um, so I'm okay with choosing any one of group 3 or group 2 or group 3's poem. I'll just follow the majority. Thank you.
I do agree that simpler poem will make our work easier, but one thing that I'm afraid is that we will not have enough content to do the video because we have like 11 people here. So I will go with group 2 or group 3's poem, which is longer, so that it is more safer that we will have more content. Yeah.
I myself agree with Kayal. I think I'm on the fence. On one hand, if we prefer to apply more of our creativity into reenacting it, we can go the simple poem route with group 1 and group 4. If we need a framework and we can follow it, I would prefer the much more descriptive poem in group 2 and 3. So it's definitely up to you guys which one you prefer, and I'm fine with either actually.
Okay, so in addition to what I said just now, even though I was only talking about group 3, but now that I think about it, I think group 3's poem, even though it was like very descriptive, it was very lyrical and elegant and a beautiful poem, but it was, very descriptive of the ambience and the environment, and I'm not very sure if we can accurately portray what the author said in our video. And it's also quite lengthy, but then I think group 2's I remember it's a lot more, I think it's a lot more clear to us, like the vision that the author wants us to think, like his childhood places and everything. And the same goes to group 4's poem. It's very straightforward, and it's also very clear and very short, and also very relatable to us. So I think it can be a lot more easier to portray, and if that is in the case, if we want to act it out. And for group 1's poem, even though I also think it's a quite an interesting poem, but I think it's rather short, and I'm not very sure if there will be enough content for us to make for like a 2-minute video. So what do you guys think?
I actually agree on that. When you look back on the poems, it actually poem number 4 poem number 4 and poem number 1 was actually quite straightforward, true, and then poem number 1 was quite long for me lah. So poem number 2 and 3 were actually quite simple, and I think when you think back on it, they actually be easier choices to make videos on. So it'd be easier if we were to go for one of those lah. And yeah, actually that although poem number 4 is quite straightforward, I agree on that, but we don't have much story to go on that, as in like we don't have much narrative to make a video if we were to choose poem number 4. So yeah.
Yeah, I do agree with Raja as well. If we have a lengthier poem, such as the poem from group number 2 and group number 3, we can afford to condense the material into a 2-minute video. It's much more easier to add more stuff into a very relatively simple poem, such as my group's poem as well as group 4's poem. So yeah, I do feel like opting for either group 2's poem or group 3, the one with the lilac. It's going to be easier for us to pick and choose which aspect or element within the poem itself that we want to recreate. So it's going to make our life easier, I would say.
Okay, so I'd like to agree with that as well. So previously I had mentioned that Group 2's poem was very suitable, but now I feel that they're equally, as in like Group 3's poem, Group 3, right? Yeah, Group 3's poem, The Lilac's Mother Planted, is equally as good and suitable as I Remember, because of its length as well as it's very descriptive, so it'd be very helpful when we're making the video. So yeah, between Group 2 and Group 3 for me.
I totally agree what Raja, Leka, and Kevin said, because previously I mentioned that I choose poem number 4, which is very straightforward and so on. But when I think about it, the reason why I say that because I thought it would be easier for us to do the test later because we have other things to do, assignment. But when you mentioned that, because the poem number 3, they have a lot of elements, they have a lot of things that we can add in the video. So I quite agree, and I think poem number 3 is the most suitable for now compared to other poems. For poem number 1, it's actually a very unique poem. However, because it's too short and not everyone is relatable with childhood memories with friends, with long lasting friends. So yeah, that's my opinion for that. Anyone else?
I agree on that too. For me, poem number 1 and 4, they were interesting as well, like poem number 3 and 2. It's not that they are not interesting, they're very unique and very descriptive also. But um, if we compare the length, yeah, I would go for poem number 2 and 3, as I mentioned before. But comparing these two poems, I would still choose poem number 3. Yeah, that's all from me. Anyone else want to share your opinions?
Yeah, I do agree going with longer poems than shorter because we will have more content. And among the poem, the second poem and the third poem, I think I will prefer third poem more because it is more beautiful and more scenery. Yeah. So what do you guys think?
I agree with everyone. Earlier I said I choose poem number 3, so I'm still sticking with that. Because since our group has like 11 members in one group, so I think a lengthier poem would make a more creative content in a video compared to other poems such as the first poem, Only in Sleep. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
So okay. So whenever you guys say like that, just now I said I like the poem number 2, right? Remember. But I think I still I also agree with you guys about the poem number 3, but I still think with the poem number 2, I remember. Yes, remember. The poem for me is quite direct and it's quite simple poem and it easy to understand. So I think with this easy poem, uh, it can make with easy poem and direct language that this poem use. I think we still can make our job easy. So that's my opinion.
So okay, it looks like majority of you guys choose poem number 2 and 3. But however, we just move on. So everyone already shared their opinion, and now we're going to vote which poem is the best for our poetry in motion video 1. So should we do, so I just want to ask, should we do the same voting method that we did from the first discussion, like raising hand? Is that okay with you guys? Okay.
Yep,
Yes.
that's fine by me.
Yep.
The rules say each person can vote twice on the poll that you guys like or prefer. So let's start the voting. If anyone choose the first poem, which is only in sleep, please raise your hand. Okay. So next is the next poem is I Remember, I Remember. Please raise your hand if you're interested. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6. Okay. So the third poem is The Lilac Mother Planted. 1, 2, 3, 7. Okay. And lastly, The Golden Days. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So from the voting, we can see that the Lilac Mother Planted has the highest vote. Okay, so it means that the Lilac Mother Planted poem is our official poem to make the Poetry in Motion video one. So I think that's the end of the discussion. But before that, we need to select the date for the next video discussion. So is it okay if we do it on next Wednesday at 5:30 p.m.? If I'm not mistaken, it's on 5th May. Is it okay for everyone that time?
Sure, no problem.
Okay.
Okay with that.
Yep, I'm okay with that date.
Okay.
So I think that's it. That's all for today, and thank you everyone.